the Bitcoin mine. Grab your pickaxe, grab your shovel, put that helmet on, get ready to jump in that elevator and go down into. That's not how you mine Bitcoin. There is no physical activity with a pick or an axe or anything else like that. You sit in front of your computer all day long and your eyes get glazed over as you hope and pray for the aspect of, I'm going to get rich because I'm going to get some Bitcoin. Shoot, if I get one block of Bitcoin, I'll get 6.25 coins and they're $20,000 a piece. I'll make my score of 130,000. By the way, that can happen. But that being said, let's look on the process of what a mine really is. It's the process of creating new Bitcoins by solving complicated problems that verify transactions in the currency. Now, you have 12,000 different kinds of cryptocurrency. By far, the biggest one is called Bitcoin. That actually is the name of a specific type of cryptocurrency. 40% of all of the cryptocurrencies are Bitcoin. So it is the big, giant player on the block. That's why we pay attention to it the most out of all the Bitcoins. It uses the process of mining, and mining, we call it proof of work. What happens is when you go mining, it's complex, it's expensive, and it works. You have to pay attention to some of the different aspects of it. Okay, a miner earns every time they validate a problem, and they solve a problem. They can validate a block, and it goes onto the blockchain, of course. And when that happens, the miner that found it is rewarded at this time with 6.25 Bitcoins. And yes, in March 2023, it's $125,000 and more. It just depends on the moment of the day and when it was found and discovered. When it's validated, except for the fact that you have a couple issues. It sucks up massive amounts of energy because you're trying to solve this problem. And a lot of times, it's not just one computer doing it. Some people have giant banks and banks and banks of computers. They even go to the point of reviving old power stations that generated power on coal. Who knows what else they tossed into the mix just to create more power to sit down there and just run Bitcoin mining operations. That power aspect can be very expensive. The machinery for it, the computers, they normally cost $10,000 new, but that's a round figure. You can go out there and get a good deal, and I'll help negotiate it for you if you want, for a certain fee, of course. Everybody's got their hand out when it comes to Bitcoin. The reality of it comes down to is that you can probably get one cheaper than $10,000 in the market because we've had so many different difficulties, and the Bitcoin price has dropped so much. We'll talk about the difference in just a second. That being said, Bitcoin has an opportunity, but look as the aspect of Bitcoin, Kazakhstan and the Philippines put together, that's pretty much how much is consumed in the electricity from two countries. You could almost take any two small countries, put them together, and that's how much energy output it takes to run the different Bitcoin mining operations across planet Earth. So that being said, Bitcoin is volatile. In 2020, it traded for a whole $4,107 for one Bitcoin. And then it jumped nonstop and didn't seem like it would ever stop. It went up to $68,790. Everybody jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon and they're all celebrating, yay! And then they bought into it and then it went down. Okay, so your March 2023, it's $20,186, and it's been hanging in that $20,000 range. It goes down to 16, it goes up to 22. So you'll see it, the variation, and it's day by day. The odds of solving for one hash, which is solving for one problem, we call it a hash, is only 1 in 22 trillion. Okay, so you finding that problem and that exact guess as to what that number is, that magical number is going to sit down there and unlock that golden ticket for you to get the Bitcoin. There's only 1 in 22 trillion. The leading Bitcoin mining, United States is by far number one. Kazakhstan, you may not have heard of Kazakhstan, it's not always on the front page of your newspaper. Okay, it's got 18% of it. Russia's in there, so is Canada. Ireland, teeny tiny Ireland, is a big player. Okay, yes, the number looks small here, but keep in mind how big the population is in Ireland. Malaysia, Germany, Iran, they're all in that market for mining Bitcoin, and they're out there and they're using energy, they're using a lot of computers. Bitcoin runs on a decentralized computer network. I've mentioned this before. You'll hear me mention it again because sometimes this concept, you have to put your mind around it to sit down there and be comfortable in the world of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a decentralized computer network. In other words, almost anybody can have a computer that can hack onto it in the aspect. You can get the software relatively easily if you wanted to go out and pay attention to mining, if you want to do it yourself. You have those different aspects of it. You get an exchange every time that you mine it and you solve a problem, and you get that problem solving is put into a block and is attached to the blockchain. It's verified on the decentralized network with thousands of computers all agreeing, this person has hereby solved this problem. And you hear a gavel come down and it says, yes, you now have the coins. You don't hear anything at all. It's all based on computers, and you get awarded a computer code. There isn't any beautiful, pretty little circle thing of Bitcoin. You don't get that. Nobody mails you anything. It's just all of a sudden it's transferred into your account, and you have that, and you get to celebrate because you just made about $130,000. So once the transaction is approved, they're joined to part of the chain, and within minutes now you have that added out there. And with Bitcoin, it's called proof of work. We notate it with a capital P, small o, and a capital W. Proof of work. We're going to talk about proof of stake later on, but here we're talking about Bitcoin mining, and there are multiple different types of cryptocurrencies that use proof of work. Some people are much more comfortable with that versus the other one we'll learn later on called proof of stake, but proof of stake doesn't consume the massive amounts of energy that proof of work does. So let's focus in on the proof of work right now. It consumes massive amounts of electricity. You would need 9 years worth of your house's electricity to mine just one Bitcoin as of August 2021. Maybe you can hotwire your neighbor's electricity and the neighbor next door and the people, maybe your whole block can all have a Bitcoin mining party. Who knows? So Bitcoin provides evidence that a complex problem was solved, and Bitcoin is awarded. It's called proof of work. Bitcoin is volatile, uses vast amounts of energy, and by the way, it's highly profitable. The Bitcoin mine, is it for you? We'll talk about that next. Take care.